Commander Lee Hana stood at the front window of the bridge. She watched the stars stretch across the black space like tiny diamonds. The UES Defiance had been traveling for 6 months now. They were farther from Earth than any human had ever gone before. The ship was huge. It carried 200 of Earth's best people. Scientists, soldiers, engineers, and doctors. All of them had one job: find out what was beyond the known galaxy. Find out if humans were alone in the universe. Hana was 35 years old. She had short black hair and dark eyes that missed nothing. She had fought in the Mars Wars. She had led ships through asteroid fields, but nothing had prepared her for this moment. "Commander," called out Park Jimin from his station. He was the head science officer, a thin man with thick glasses who could solve problems that made other people's heads hurt. "I'm getting something strange on the sensors." Hana walked over to his screen. Lines and numbers moved across it in patterns she did not understand, but she could read the worry on Jimin's face. "What am I looking at?" she asked. "Ships," Jimin said. His voice was quiet. "At least 20 of them, maybe more, but they're not like anything we've ever built." The main screen at the front of the bridge lit up. What Hana saw made her stomach turn cold. The ships were wrong. They looked like someone had taken metal and mixed it with living things. Hull, plates that looked like skin, weapons that moved like arms, parts that pulsed like beating hearts. "Are they alive?" asked Kim Dae-ho. He was the security chief, a big man with scars on his hands from too many fights. His job was to keep everyone on the ship safe. "I think they're both," Jimin said. "Alive and machine at the same time." One of the alien ships moved closer. It was 3 times bigger than the Defiance. As it got near, Hana could see things moving inside it through windows that looked like eyes. A voice came through the ship's speakers. It was not a human voice. It sounded like metal scraping against stone, like something that lived in dark places. "Small meat things," the voice said. The ship's computer was trying to turn the alien words into English, but some meanings got lost. "You fly far from your nest. You smell of fear and water." Hana stepped forward. This was the moment they had all dreamed of. First contact with another species. She had practiced this speech 100 times. "This is Commander Lee Hana of the United Earth Ship Defiance. We come in peace. We wish to learn about your people and share knowledge." The alien voice made a sound that might have been laughing, but it was the kind of laugh that made children hide under their beds. "Peace," the voice repeated. "You think like prey, small and weak and hoping the hunter will not see you. But we see you now. We smell your fear. It makes you taste better." The bridge went quiet. Everyone looked at each other. This was not how first contact was supposed to go. "I don't think they want to be friends," whispered Yoon Soo-hyun. She was the tactical officer, smart and quick with numbers that could turn into death. More alien ships moved around the Defiance, like wolves around a sheep. Hana could feel them studying her ship, learning its weak points. "Small meat things," the voice came again. "I am Prime Hunter Kelvak. You are now prey in the great hunt. We will take you alive. Fear makes the meat sweet." Hana's mind raced. Everything about these aliens was wrong. They didn't want to talk. They didn't want to trade. They wanted to hunt humans like animals. "Commander," Dae-ho said quietly, "my sensors show movement. They're launching something at us." Through the main screen, Hana saw dark shapes shoot out from the alien ships. They moved fast and straight toward the Defiance. Not weapons. Transport. "Pods, red alert," Hana ordered. "All hands to battle stations, prepare for boarding action." Lights flashed red throughout the ship. Alarms rang out. 200 people ran to their positions. But Hana knew it would not be enough. The aliens had too many ships, too many advantages. The first pod hit the hull with a sound like thunder. Then another. And another. Emergency lights flickered as something began cutting through the metal. "Hull, breach on deck 7, reported engineer Cho Min-seok from his station. He was young but good with machines. He could fix anything that broke. "Something's coming through." Dae-ho and his security teams ran toward the breach points. They carried laser rifles and plasma weapons, the best human technology could make. Hannah hoped it would be enough. She stayed on the bridge and watched the screens. Camera feeds from throughout the ship showed her security teams taking positions, waiting for whatever was coming through those holes. The first alien stepped through the breach, and Hannah forgot how to breathe. It was 7 feet tall. Its body was covered in black plates that looked like the shell of a giant insect. It had 4 arms ending in claws that could cut through steel. Its head was long, with too many teeth and eyes that glowed red in the dark. Daho's team opened fire. Laser beams hit the creature and bounced off its natural armor. Plasma bolts made it step back but did not hurt it. The alien made that scraping laugh sound and charged forward. What happened next was not a fight. It was a slaughter. The aliens moved too fast. Their armor was too strong, and they had weapons that fired needles full of poison. Hannah watched her people fall one by one. They did not die. The poison kept them alive but unable to move, unable to fight back. The aliens wanted living prey. More creatures poured through the hull breaches. They spread through the ship like water through a sinking boat. Hannah's crew fought hard, but it was no use. These aliens had been hunting for a long time. Humans were just another species of animal to them. "Commander," Jimin called out. Blood ran down his face from where claws had cut him. "They're in the engine room and the medical bay and the crew quarters. We can't stop them." One of the creatures appeared on the bridge. It was bigger than the others, older. Its armor had scars from many hunts. It looked at Hannah with those red eyes, and she could see intelligence there. Cold and hungry intelligence. "You are the pack leader," it said. Its voice was different from the others. Deeper. "Your fear will season the others nicely." Hannah looked around the bridge. Her crew was trapped. The aliens had won. But maybe she could still save some lives. Maybe she could learn something that would help other humans later. She did something that surprised everyone. Even herself. She dropped her weapon. She held up her hands. And she walked toward the alien. "I surrender," she said. "Take me. Let my crew live." The creature's head tilted like a curious animal. "Surrender? This is new. Most prey runs until we catch them." "I'm not most prey," Hannah said. The alien reached out with one clawed hand. It grabbed Hannah by the shoulder. Then it opened its mouth wide and bit down. Pain shot through her body like fire. She felt needles pierce her skin, felt poison pump into her blood. Her legs stopped working and she fell to the floor. But as the darkness closed in around her, Hannah managed to speak one last time. "Computer," she whispered. "Protocol Lazarus. Authorization Hannah 77 Alpha." The ship's AI heard her. Deep in the computer's memory, old programs began to wake up. Programs that had been sleeping since the ship left Earth. Programs that would change everything. As Hannah lost consciousness, she smiled. The alien had made a mistake. It thought it had caught easy prey, but it had just activated the most dangerous predator in the galaxy, a human with nothing left to lose. Hannah woke up in darkness. Her body felt heavy and wrong. She could not move her arms or legs. The alien poison was still in her blood, but she could think. She could see. She could hear. The smell hit her first. It was like rotting meat mixed with metal, like a butcher shop that had been closed for too long. She was not on her ship anymore. The walls around her were not made of clean human steel. They were wet and warm and seemed to pulse like living skin. She was inside the alien ship. Other shapes lay near her in the dark. Her crew, all of them still alive but unable to move. She could hear them breathing, could see their eyes moving in the dim light. Park Jimin lay closest to her. The science officer's glasses were broken, but his mind was still working. His eyes met hers, and she saw recognition there. He was afraid, but he was thinking. That was good. They would need to think to survive this. A light appeared in the darkness. Not electric light like humans made. This was soft and green and came from things growing on the walls. As her eyes adjusted, Hannah began to see the truth of where they were. The alien ship was alive. The floor under them moved slightly as something breathed beneath it. The walls had veins running through them that carried glowing fluid instead of blood. Windows that looked like eyes blinked open and closed as the ship watched space. Heavy footsteps came toward them. 3 aliens walked into the room. They were different from the hunters who had attacked her ship. These ones wore no armor. Their skin was pale and soft. They had too many arms, and their heads were shaped wrong for thinking. One of them spoke in that scraping voice. "The meat is awake. Good. Fear tastes better when they know what comes next." Another alien bent down and lifted Hana like she weighed nothing. Its claws were careful not to cut her. She was valuable now. Damaged goods would not sell well at market. They carried her and her crew through corridors that twisted and turned like the inside of some giant beast. Other rooms held other prisoners, humans from ships that had been caught before the Defiance. Dozens of people from Earth and the colonies, all of them alive, all of them waiting to be hunted. The aliens brought them to a large chamber. The walls here were covered with holes like windows. Through them, Hana could see space moving past. But not the space she knew. The stars were different here. They had traveled far from human territory. Prime Hunter Kelvac waited for them in the center of the room. He was even bigger than Hana remembered. His armor was decorated with trophies from past hunts. Bones and teeth and things she did not want to think about. "Welcome to the Marrow Deep," he said. His voice filled the chamber. "This ship has been hunting for 300 of your years. Every species we have found becomes prey. You are no different." He walked closer to Hana. Even though she could not move, she felt her body try to pull away from him. "Your species is special," Kelvac continued. "Most prey animals are simple. They run, they hide, they die. But you humans think too much. Your fear has layers, complex tastes. You will provide excellent sport." One of the pale aliens whispered something to Kelvac, words in their own language that the translator could not understand. But Hana saw Kelvac's head tilt with interest. "Ah, yes," he said. "You should know how this works. Soon the poison in your blood will fade. You will be able to move again. When that happens, we will release you into the hunting maze below. You will run. We will chase. Eventually, we will catch you. Then the real fun begins." He gestured to the walls around them. "Do not think of escape. This ship is alive. It knows where you are at all times. The air you breathe contains chemicals that make you smell stronger to us. The food you eat makes your meat more tender. Everything here is designed for the hunt." Kelvac moved to where Park Jimin lay paralyzed. The alien's claws traced along the science officer's face without cutting. "This one thinks too much," Kelvac said. "His brain works even now, planning, hoping. That will make breaking him even more satisfying." Lieutenant Commander Yoon Soo-hyun lay near the wall. Her eyes were watching everything, taking notes in her head. She had been tactical officer on the Defiance for 5 years. She knew how to study an enemy and find their weak points. Engineer Cho Min-suk was looking at the walls. Even paralyzed and captured, he was trying to understand how the alien technology worked. His mind saw machines where others saw only flesh. Dr. Bai Yoonji was watching the other prisoners, the humans from ships caught months ago. She was a doctor. She could see things about their condition that others missed, things that might be important later. Security Chief Kim Dae-ho just looked angry. The big man's eyes promised violence. He was already planning how to kill aliens when he got the chance. "Your pack leader made an interesting choice," Kelvac said, looking back at Hana. "Most prey tries to run when cornered, but you surrendered. Why?" Hana could not speak yet. The poison still controlled her voice, but she could think. And what she was thinking would have terrified Kelvac if he understood human nature. She had not surrendered. She had infiltrated. Every second she spent on this ship was information. Every alien she saw was intelligence about their enemy. Every room they passed through was mapped in her head. The humans might be prisoners now, but they were also scouts behind enemy lines. Hours passed. Other aliens came and went. They spoke in their scraping language about hunting schedules and prey preparation. They did not know that Lieutenant Commander Yoon was learning their patrol patterns, that Engineer Cho was studying their biotechnology, that Dr. Bay was analyzing their biology for weaknesses. The aliens thought they had caught helpless prey, but they had actually captured a military unit, and military units did what they were trained to do. They gathered intelligence. They planned operations. They prepared for war. One of the pale aliens noticed that some of the humans were beginning to move their fingers. The poison was wearing off faster than expected. The small meat things recover quickly, it reported to Kelvak. Faster than the blue-skinned prey from the Centauri worlds. Faster than the scaled prey from the Rim colonies. Kelvak made that scraping laugh sound. Good. Quick prey makes better sport. We will begin the first hunt tomorrow, when they can run properly. What Kelvak did not know was that humans had been persistence hunters for millions of years. They did not just run from predators. They chased them across continents until the predators collapsed from exhaustion. They used tools and tactics and teamwork that no other species had ever developed. The aliens were about to learn what happened when apex predators made the mistake of hunting other apex predators. As feeling returned to her hands, Hana began to move her fingers in small patterns. Military hand signals that her crew would recognize. Signals that meant regroup, assess, prepare for action. The hunt would begin tomorrow. But the hunters had no idea that their prey was already hunting them back. The hunting maze was built like a nightmare. Corridors twisted back on themselves. Dead ends led to pits filled with things that moved in the dark. The walls were covered with the same living tissue as the rest of the ship. But here it was different. Hungry. It could smell fear and pain, and it wanted more. Hana stood at the entrance with her hands free for the first time in 2 days. The poison was almost gone from her system. She could move. She could think clearly. She could fight. Behind, her 3 Vorthak hunters waited. Each one was 7 feet tall and covered in natural armor that had stopped human weapons. Their claws could cut through steel. Their teeth could inject enough poison to drop a bull elephant. They had been hunting prey for decades. They had never hunted anything that hunted them back. "Run, little meat thing," called the lead hunter. Its name was Gask, and it had killed prey from 16 different worlds. "Give us good sport. The longer you live, the more fun we have." Hana looked at the maze entrance, then she looked back at the hunters, and she smiled. "No," she said. The word hit them like a physical blow. No prey had ever said no before. Prey ran. That was what made them prey. "You will run," Gask said. Its voice was confused now. "All meat things run. It is your nature." "You don't know much about human nature," Hana replied. Then she picked up a piece of broken metal from the floor and walked toward them. What happened next changed everything the Vorthak thought they knew about hunting. Hana did not run into the maze. Instead, she used the entrance as a choke point. The 3 hunters could not attack her at the same time. They had to come at her one by one through the narrow opening. The first hunter, Gask, charged forward expecting easy prey. Instead, it met a human who had trained for war since she was 18 years old. A human who understood that size and strength meant nothing if you could not use them properly. Hana dodged to the side as Gask's claws swept past her head. She drove her metal weapon up under its arm where the armor plates did not meet. Alien blood sprayed across the corridor walls. Gask screamed in pain and rage. No prey had ever heard it before. It swung again, but Hana was already moving. She grabbed onto the hunter's arm and used its own strength to swing herself onto its back. The alien tried to throw her off, but she held on tight. Her metal weapon found the gap at the base of its skull. She drove it deep and twisted. Gask fell to the ground and did not get up. The second hunter hesitated. This was not how hunts were supposed to go. Prey did not kill hunters. It was impossible. But Hana was already moving toward it. The corridor was narrow and filled with debris from the ship's construction. Perfect terrain for someone who knew how to use tools and environment as weapons. She grabbed a hanging piece of the living wall tissue and swung on it like a rope. Her feet caught the second hunter in the face with enough force to crack its skull armor. It staggered backward into a support beam that groaned under the impact. Hana landed and immediately rolled away as claws raked the spot where she had been. The hunter was faster than the first one, but it was also angry now. Anger made predators stupid. She led it deeper into the maze where the ceiling was lower. The big alien had to bend down to follow her. That put its head at the perfect height for the trap she was setting. 20 feet ahead was a junction where 4 corridors met. Hana knew the layout from watching the previous hunts. She knew which walls were structural and which ones were just decoration. The hunter chased her around the corner and into her trap. Hana had wedged pieces of debris into the wall joints. When the alien's weight hit the weakened supports, the entire section collapsed. 2 tons of living ship tissue fell on the hunter. It was still alive under the wreckage, but it would not be hunting anyone for a long time. The third hunter had watched both its packmates fall to a creature they thought was helpless prey. It made a sound that might have been fear and started to back away. "Where are you going?" Hana asked. She was covered in alien blood and her eyes were bright with something the hunter had never seen before. Human battle rage, the joy a pack predator felt when it was winning. The third hunter turned and ran. Hana chased it through corridors that twisted like intestines. The alien was faster, but she was smarter. She knew the maze layout. She could predict where it would go. She took shortcuts through maintenance tunnels. She used her smaller size to crawl through spaces the big alien could not fit. She herded it like a sheepdog herding livestock. The hunt ended in a dead-end chamber where the ship stored bio-waste. The hunter was trapped with nowhere to run. It turned to fight, but Hana was not there anymore. She dropped from above like a spider. Her metal weapon found the gap in its neck armor, and the third hunter joined its packmates in death. Hana stood alone in the chamber surrounded by 3 dead aliens. Her clothes were torn and she was bleeding from a dozen small cuts. But she was alive. More than alive. She was victorious. The ship's communication system crackled to life. Prime Hunter Kelvac's voice filled the chamber. "Impossible," he said. His voice was different now. Uncertain. "Prey cannot kill hunters. It has never happened." "Get used to it," Hana replied to the empty air. "You just learned lesson 1 about humans. We are not prey." She cut the heads off the 3 dead hunters and carried them back to the maze entrance. Other aliens were waiting there. Dozens of them, all staring at her like she was some kind of monster. Back in the holding chamber, her crew watched through the wall windows as she walked in carrying her trophies. The other human prisoners from other ships began to whisper among themselves. They had watched their own people get hunted and killed for months. Now they saw something impossible. One of their own had won. Lieutenant Commander Yoon Soo-hyun felt something she had not felt since being captured. Hope. The tactical officer's mind began working on new calculations. If 1 human could kill 3 hunters, what could 200 humans do working together? Engineer Cho Min-seok was studying the biotechnology he had observed during his capture. He was starting to understand how the ship's living systems worked. Starting to see ways they could be turned against their makers. Dr. Bae Yoonji was treating injured prisoners, but her mind was on other things. She had been watching the aliens and learning about their biology. She knew their strengths now. More importantly, she was beginning to understand their weaknesses. Security Chief Kim Dae-ho just smiled. His commander had sent a message to everyone on the ship, both human and alien. The message was simple. The prey was fighting back, and it was winning. Prime Hunter Kelvac stood in his command chamber staring at the security feeds. 3 of his best hunters were dead, killed by a creature that should have been helpless. For the first time in his long life, Kelvac felt something he had never experienced before, something his species had no word for because they had never needed one. Fear of becoming prey themselves. He activated the ship's communication system and spoke to all his hunters. "Kill the humans," he ordered. "All of them. Now. Do not hunt them. Do not play with them. Just kill them." But Kelvac had made another mistake. He thought the humans were still helpless prisoners waiting to die. He was about to learn that humans worked best when they had their backs against the wall. The order to kill all humans spread through the ship like wildfire. But the aliens discovered something they had not expected. The humans were no longer in their holding cells. Engineer Cho Min-seok had been busy while everyone watched Hana's hunt. He had figured out how the biomechanical locks worked. The ship's living systems responded to electrical signals like nerves in a body. With parts from his personal device and some careful work, he had learned to speak the ship's language. Thai, cell doors opened just as armed hunters arrived to kill the prisoners. Instead of helpless prey, the aliens found empty rooms and the sound of human voices echoing through the corridors. All units form up on me. Hana's voice called over the ship's communication system. Cho had hacked that too. Remember your training. We are not prisoners anymore. We are a military unit behind enemy lines. The humans moved through the ship like they owned it. 200 people working together with the discipline that had won wars across human space. They used hand signals to communicate silently. They moved in teams that covered each other's backs. They turned the aliens' own ship against them. Lieutenant Commander Yoon Soo-hyun had spent days memorizing the ship's layout. Now she led teams through maintenance tunnels and service corridors the aliens rarely used. She positioned fighters at key choke points where the ship's design forced enemies to attack from bad angles. Dr. Bae Yoonji had made a discovery that changed everything. The stress chemicals humans produced when afraid were toxic to alien nervous systems. She had created an aerosol version using the ship's own biosystems. When she released it into the air circulation, the hunters began losing their enhanced senses. Suddenly, the aliens could not smell fear anymore. Could not track prey by scent. Their biggest advantage was gone. The first group of hunters that ran into organized human resistance did not know what hit them. They were used to chasing single targets through a maze designed to confuse and trap prey. They had never fought a coordinated military unit that used tactics and teamwork. Security Chief Kim Dae-ho led the main assault team, 20 of his best fighters armed with weapons taken from dead hunters. They moved like wolves through the ship's corridors, fast and quiet and deadly. The aliens learned that humans did not just use tools. They made tools out of anything they could find. Pieces of the ship became weapons. Maintenance equipment became armor. Even the ship's own bio-waste became chemical weapons in human hands. Captain Song Hyawan had been a prisoner for 3 months. Her ship had been one of the first ones taken by the hunters. She had watched her crew die one by one in the hunting mazes. Now she led 40 survivors from different ships in a coordinated attack on the ship's power center. The humans were not just fighting randomly. They had a plan. Take control of key ship systems, cut off alien communications, trap the hunters in their own maze. First Officer Nam Tae-hyung coordinated the different human teams. He had been captured 2 weeks ago, but his tactical training was still sharp. He positioned teams to create overlapping fields of fire in the main corridors. When hunters tried to move between sections of the ship, they walked into carefully planned ambushes. The aliens began to panic. This was not how prey was supposed to behave. Prey ran away from hunters. It did not hunt them back. It did not work together. It did not set traps. Prime Hunter Kelvak received reports from all over his ship. Hunters dead or missing, sections of the ship under human control, biosystems being turned against their original makers. "How many humans are there?" he demanded. 200, reported his second-in-command. Maybe less. Many were killed in the hunting games over the past months. 200 prey animals are defeating 3,000 hunters? The second-in-command had no answer. This had never happened before in the long history of the Vorthak people. They were the apex predators of the galaxy. Nothing hunted them. Until now. Engineer Cho Min-seok had taken control of the ship's nervous system. He could open and close doors anywhere on the vessel. He could control lighting and airflow. He could even cause pain responses in the living walls themselves. The ship began to turn against its makers. Corridors sealed themselves when hunters tried to pass through. Acidic biofluids meant for waste disposal flooded compartments full of aliens. The immune system that usually fought off infections began attacking the ship's own crew. Dr. Bae Yoonji made another breakthrough. She learned how to synthesize the aliens' own paralytic venom using the ship's biosystems, but she improved it, made it stronger, made it work faster. When hunters breathed the modified toxin, they collapsed within seconds, alive but helpless, just like they had made their prey feel for so many years. The humans started taking prisoners, not to hunt them for sport, but to learn more about their enemies. They found out that the Vorthak were not just random raiders. They were scouts for something much bigger. "Commander," Yoon Soo-hyun reported to Hana, "I found their communication logs. There's a fleet coming. Thousands of ships. They'll reach human space in 6 months." Hana stood in what used to be the ship's command center. Now it was under human control. Around her, her people worked at alien stations they had learned to operate. The ship's biosystems responded to their commands now. "How many ships?" she asked. "At least 5,000. Maybe more. They're planning to strip harvest every human world. Earth, Mars, the outer colonies, everyone." The weight of that knowledge settled on Hana's shoulders. 2 billion humans lived in the colonies. 4 billion more on Earth, all of them targeted for hunting by an alien species that saw them as nothing more than entertaining prey. "Then we have work to do," she said. Captain Song Haiwan approached with a report. "We've secured the ship, Commander. 300 aliens dead. The rest locked in their own holding cells. Prime Hunter Kelvak is asking to speak with you." Hana looked around the command center. Her people were exhausted but victorious. They had done the impossible. A few hundred humans had taken control of an alien warship designed specifically for hunting them. But this was just the beginning. One ship against a fleet of thousands. One small victory before a war that would decide the fate of humanity. "Bring Kelvak to me," she ordered. "But leave him paralyzed. I want him to know what it feels like to be helpless prey." The alien who had terrorized human prisoners for months was brought in on a stretcher. His own venom kept him conscious, but unable to move. Unable to do anything but listen. "Your species made a mistake," Hana told him. "You thought humans were prey because we don't have natural armor or claws or poison. You didn't understand that we have something else. Something more dangerous than any natural weapon." She gestured to her crew working around them. Humans and aliens working together now. The ship's systems responding to human commands better than they ever had to alien ones. "We have each other," she continued. "We work together. We learn from our enemies. We adapt. We overcome. And when you threaten our family, we become the most dangerous predators in the galaxy." Kelvak's eyes showed fear for the first time in his long life. The fear that came from realizing you were no longer the apex predator, that something had evolved beyond you. "Your fleet will come," Hana said, "and we'll be ready for them. Because you taught us something important today. You taught us that we're not alone in the galaxy. And you taught us that everything else out here thinks we're prey." She leaned closer to the paralyzed alien. "That was a mistake you'll regret for the rest of your very short life." The bioship's brain center was a nightmare of living tissue and alien technology. Walls pulsed like giant hearts. Cables that looked like veins carried information instead of blood. At the center of it all was a throne made of bone and metal, where Prime Hunter Kelvak had once commanded his ship. Now Commander Lee Hana sat in that throne. She had been learning to interface with the ship's living systems for 3 days. Engineer Cho Min-sok helped her understand the biomechanical controls. Dr. Bai Yunji had created chemical interfaces that let human nervous systems connect with alien technology. It was painful. The ship's systems were designed for Vorthak physiology. But humans adapted. They always adapted. Through the neural link, Hana could feel the entire ship like it was part of her body. She could sense her crew moving through the corridors, could feel the alien prisoners locked in the holding cells, could even detect other ships moving through space around them, and she could feel something else. Fear. The ship itself was afraid. For the first time in its 300-year life, it was controlled by something it had been designed to hunt. "Commander," Lieutenant Commander Yoon Soo-hyun reported, "we're picking up signals from the main Vorthak fleet. They're asking why we missed our last check-in." Hana opened her eyes. The neural link made her feel sick, but it was worth it. Through the ship's senses, she could see farther and more clearly than any human technology allowed. How long before they come looking for us? She asked. Maybe 2 days. Maybe less if they're suspicious. That was not enough time. Hana needed to send a message that would reach the Vorthak fleet before they reached human space. A message that would make them understand what they were really facing. She stood up from the biomechanical throne and walked to where Kelvak was being held. The alien was still paralyzed but fully aware. His red eyes tracked her movement with hatred and fear. "I'm going to give you a choice," Hana told him. "You can die here as a failed hunter, or you can live long enough to deliver a message to your people." Kelvak could not speak, but his eyes showed interest. Survival instincts were strong in any predator species. "The message is simple," Hana continued. "Humans are not prey. We are not victims. We are not food. We are the species that turns hunters into the hunted." She gestured to Captain Song Hewan, who brought over a data tablet. On the screen were recordings from the past 3 days. Humans, working together to take control of alien technology. Human creativity finding new uses for biomechanical systems. Human determination turning a prison ship into a weapon. "Your people think they know what humans are," Hana said. "Small, weak, easy prey. But they've only seen us at our weakest. They've never seen us angry." The recordings showed what happened when humans got angry. Disciplined violence that made alien hunting look like children playing games. Tactical coordination that turned individual humans into something much more dangerous than the sum of their parts. "We're going to let you go," Hana continued. "You and a few of your hunters. Just enough to crew a small ship. You're going to fly back to your fleet and tell them what you learned here." She activated the neural link again. Through the ship's senses, she could feel Kelvak's terror as her consciousness touched his mind. The alien experienced human thoughts for the first time. Human emotions. Human determination. What he felt there made him wish he had never heard of the species called humanity. "Tell them that we know they're coming," Hana said. "Tell them that we're ready. Tell them that every human in the galaxy will be waiting for them with weapons and tactics they can't imagine." She broke the neural connection, and Kelvak gasped like he had been drowning. His species had no concept of the kind of pack loyalty humans felt. No understanding of the sacrifices they would make for each other. "Most importantly," Hana continued, "tell them about lesson number 1. The lesson you learned when you bit me on my ship 3 days ago." She leaned close enough that Kelvak could smell her scent. It no longer smelled like prey to him. It smelled like something much more dangerous. "The first one sank its teeth in," she whispered. "I let it, so the rest would understand why that was a mistake." Over the next few hours, human teams prepared a small Vorthak scout ship for launch. They loaded it with just enough crew to operate the vessel. Kelvak and 12 other hunters who had survived the humans' counterattack. Engineer Cho had made modifications to the scout ship. It would carry more than just alien survivors back to the fleet. It would carry a virus, a digital infection that would spread through Vorthak communication networks. The virus was not designed to damage their ships or weapons. It was designed to carry a message, images and sounds and data that would show every alien in the fleet what humans were really capable of when their survival was at stake. Dr. Bei Yunji had made biological modifications too. The surviving aliens carried chemical markers in their blood now. Markers that would spread to other Vorthak through normal contact. Markers that carried human pheromones. When the survivors returned to their fleet, every alien they met would smell the scent of human victory, would know without conscious thought that their species was no longer the apex predator of the galaxy. As the scout ship prepared to launch, Hana stood in the command center watching her crew work. They had done something impossible. A few hundred humans had captured an alien warship designed specifically to hunt them, but it was not enough. Not nearly enough. "Commander," Security Chief Kim Daeho reported. "The scout ship is ready for launch. Kelvak is asking to speak with you one more time." Hana activated the communication link to the scout ship. Kelvak's voice came through the speakers, weaker now, defeated. "Why do you let us live?" he asked. "Your species could kill us all. take revenge for the humans we hunted. Because dead messengers can't deliver messages, Hana replied. And because killing you quickly would be mercy, I want you to live long enough to watch your entire species learn what it means to be prey. The scout ship launched and disappeared into hyperspace, carrying its cargo of broken aliens back to a fleet that thought it was hunting helpless prey. Hana turned to her crew, her people, her pack. Now we go home, she said. We have 6 months to get ready for the largest war in human history. 6 months to show them that the biggest mistake they ever made was thinking we were prey. First Officer Nam Taehyung looked up from his station. Commander, we're just one ship. How do we fight a fleet of thousands? Hana smiled. It was not a kind smile. It was the smile of a predator who had found worthy prey. The same way we took this ship, she said. Together, with tactics they can't understand, and weapons they can't imagine. We're going to teach the entire galaxy lesson number 2. What's lesson number 2? Asked Captain Song Haiwan. Humans don't just fight to survive, Hana replied. We fight to win, and we don't stop fighting until every threat to our pack is eliminated. She activated the ship's faster-than-light drive. The stolen Vorthak vessel jumped toward human space carrying its cargo of 200 humans who had learned something important about their own species. They were not prey. They never had been. They were pack hunters who had been sleeping for too long. Now they were awake. And they were very, very angry. The stolen bioship dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system. Home. Earth hung in the distance like a blue marble against the black of space, beautiful and fragile and completely unprepared for what was coming. Commander Lee Hana stood in the command center watching the communication screens light up. Every human military base in the system was demanding identification. Warning shots were being fired. Defense grids were powering up. To them, she was just another alien ship that had invaded their space. This is Commander Lee Hana of the UES. Defiance broadcasting on all frequencies, she said into the communication system. Stand down your weapons, we're coming home. The response was immediate and confused. The Defiance had been listed as missing for 6 months, presumed destroyed, in deep space. Now its commander was calling from an alien vessel that looked like a nightmare. Commander Hana, this is Admiral Park at Fleet Command. Please confirm your identity and explain your situation. Hana looked around at her crew. Her people. 200 humans who had learned what they were really capable of when their survival was at stake. We made first contact, she said. It didn't go well. We need to talk. All of us. Right now. 3 hours later, Hana stood in the main briefing room at Fleet Command. Around the table sat every important military and political leader in human space. Admirals and generals and prime ministers. People who made decisions that affected billions of lives. She told them everything. The Vorthak fleet. The hunting ships. The biotechnology that turned living things into weapons. The plan to strip harvest every human world in 6 months. When she finished, the room was quiet for a long time. You're telling us that there's a fleet of 5,000 alien warships coming to exterminate humanity, said Prime Minister Chen, and our best intelligence never detected any sign of them. They're good at hiding, Hana replied. They've been hunting other species for centuries. They know how to stay invisible until they strike. Admiral Park studied the data files Hana had brought back. Technical specifications of Vorthak ships and weapons, battle recordings that showed how the aliens fought. Most importantly, recordings that showed how they could be defeated. These bioships, he said. How do we fight something that's alive? The same way you fight any living thing, Hana answered. You find its weak points and you exploit them. Dr. Bai Yunji has developed chemical weapons that target their nervous systems. Engineer Cho Min-seok has learned to hack their biomechanical controls. We can turn their own ships against them. General Kim studied the tactical data. Even with these advantages, we're outnumbered 25-1. Maybe worse. Numbers don't matter if you fight smart, Security Chief Kim Dae-ho said. He had been invited to the briefing as one of the few humans who had actually fought the aliens hand-to-hand. They think like hunters, individual predators. They don't understand pack tactics. "What do you need from us?" asked Prime Minister. Genbot Hana activated a holographic display that showed the human colonies. Dozens of worlds scattered across hundreds of light years. Billions of people who had no idea what was coming for them. "Evacuation is impossible," she said. "We can't move 2 billion people in 6 months, so we fight. But we fight like humans. We work together. We use every advantage we have." She highlighted key star systems on the map. "We set up kill zones here, here, and here. Places where the Vorthak fleet has to come through to reach our main colonies. We use their hunting instincts against them." Lieutenant Commander Yoon Soo-hyun stepped forward. "The aliens like to hunt isolated prey. We give them what they want. Single ships that look helpless. When they move in for easy kills, we spring the trap." "Coordinated ambushes," Admiral Park said, understanding immediately. "Use their predator psychology against them." "Exactly. They see one human ship and think easy prey. They don't look for the 50 human ships hiding in the asteroid field behind it." Over the next 3 months, human space became a fortress. Every able-bodied person learned to fight. Factories worked around the clock building weapons based on captured Vorthak technology. Scientists studied alien biology looking for new weaknesses to exploit. Dr. Bae Yoonji led teams that developed biological weapons specifically designed to target Vorthak physiology, viruses that attacked their nervous systems, chemical compounds that made their natural armor brittle, pheromone disruptors that confused their senses. Engineer Cho Min-seok worked with human programmers to create computer viruses that could infect biomechanical systems, digital diseases that would spread through the alien fleet like wildfire. Captain Song Hye-won trained volunteer crews on captured Vorthak technology, teaching them to fly bioships and operate living weapons, turning alien tools against their makers. But the most important preparation was psychological. Humans learned that they were not alone in the galaxy, that there were things out there that wanted to hunt them, that saw them as nothing more than entertaining prey. The response was not fear, it was rage. The cold, focused anger of a pack predator, protecting its territory. When the Vorthak fleet finally arrived at the edge of human space, they found something they had never encountered before. Organized resistance, coordinated defense, prey that fought back with intelligence and tactics they could not understand. The first alien scouts ran into kill zones that had been prepared for months. Human ships that looked damaged and helpless, until the moment they opened fire with weapons based on the aliens' own technology. Bioships found their own systems turning against them as human-made viruses spread through their networks. Living hulls began to attack their own crews. Organic weapons refused to fire. The Vorthak tried to adapt, but humans adapted faster. Every tactic the aliens used was countered within hours. Every weapon they deployed was reversed and improved. Prime Hunter Kelvak, still alive and leading part of the fleet, received reports from across the battle zone. His hunters were being hunted. His bioships were being turned into weapons against his own people. The prey species was fighting like apex predators. "How is this possible?" he demanded of his advisors. "We are the greatest hunters in the galaxy. These humans are just small meat things." "The small meat things have learned to hunt," replied his second-in-command. "They work together like a pack. They use tools we cannot imagine. They fight with a fury we have never seen." On the bridge of her captured bioship, now renamed the UES Retribution, Commander Hana watched the battle unfold. Human tactics were working. The aliens were confused and demoralized. Their hunting instincts made them vulnerable to pack strategies they could not understand. But she knew this was just the beginning. Even if they won this battle, there would be other alien species out there. Other predators who saw humans as prey. "Commander," reported Captain Song Hyun, "the alien fleet is pulling back. They're retreating to deep space." "Let them go," Hana ordered. "But make sure they carry the message." She opened a communication channel to the retreating Vorthak fleet. Her words would be heard by every alien ship. "This is Commander Lee Hana of the human fleet," she said. "You came here to hunt us, to make us prey. You have learned why that was a mistake." The alien fleet continued its retreat, but she knew they were listening. Tell everyone in the galaxy what you learned here, she continued. Tell them that humans are not prey. We are pack hunters. We work together. We fight together. We die together. And when you threaten our family, we become the most dangerous predators in the universe. She paused, letting her words sink in. The first one sank its teeth in. I let it, so the rest would understand why that was a mistake. Now you all understand. Humans are not prey. We never were. We are the species that hunts the hunters. The Vorthak fleet disappeared into hyperspace, carrying news of their defeat back to whatever dark corners of the galaxy they came from. They would spread the word to other predator species, other aliens who might think humans looked like easy prey. They would all learn the same lesson. Humans were not alone in the galaxy, but they were not victims either. They were pack hunters who had finally learned what they were capable of when their survival was at stake. And every predator in the galaxy would learn to fear the sound of human voices calling through the dark. The pack was awake now, and it was hunting.